Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His mind.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Wigan Way. Bit of a difference this week, talking after a loss. We lost on Good Friday to Saints, so a different feeling for the lads this week. But Matty, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, all things considered, given that we've lost.
Yeah, Lewis, how you doing?
Yeah, same here. All things considered, not doing too bad.
I think that's the thing. Obviously, it hurts in the immediate, doesn't it? And losses like that really do hurt. But the winning streak that we've been on, I think the first thing to remember is you're never going to have that lasting forever. You're not going to go 2 seasons unbeaten. You're not going to go 3 seasons unbeaten. You're going to have to lose at some point.
It always seemed like written in the stars as well. Like Saints had their years of dominance, it was written in the stars that Wigan would be the ones to win the grand final and stop this, you know. And it was almost like we've not lost a game in however many games it was. It was Saints away, and it almost seemed like it was written for their stars. That if anyone was going to beat this this winning record Wigan was on, it was going to be the arch rivals type thing. So,
do you not think, very similar to last year, we were missing a couple of players in 2023? Saints had won the World Club Challenge.
Yeah.
They'd won the previous grand final, obviously. They were probably the top team in the comp, and we put in a dogged performance, and win. It almost seems complete roles reversed. We won the grand final. We'd won the World Cup Challenge, won our games after it, like Saints did. Eventually,
You can't sit there and say we should be winning these games, because at the end of the day it's away at St Helens, and if you're going to say that about this game, then you can say that about every single game you ever play. This is the hardest game of our season,
yeah,
at least in the regular season.
yeah.
definitely in the regular season.
It's the only game in the regular season we'll walk into as underdogs. I'm pretty sure.
Unless something drastic happened, maybe Leeds at Headingley if Leeds are playing really well. Maybe Catalan's away.
Catalan away, probably.
Maybe.
The one, yeah.
But this one, if you're going to lose any, let's be honest, it's going to be this one. Good Friday always seems to go with home advantage.
And I want to ask you both, at the start of the season, if I'd have said to you, we'll be round 6 just gone.
Yeah.
Round 6 just gone. We'll have played 5 games, won 4 of them, have a World Club Challenge win under our belt, only lost 1 game, and still be effectively, if we play our game in hand, top of the table. We're not massively behind on points difference.
I'd take that deal every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Twice on Sundays.
Why does twice on Sundays mean that you're definitely going to do something?
I don't
No, I'm not having it.
No, you are right though, Tom. Yeah, you are right. You'd say that. I think, it hurts because of obviously it's the derby, it's Good Friday, it's always going to hurt. But at the end of the day, we need to remember that in the grand scheme of things, this is an away loss. It's 2 points on the scoreboard. I don't think it's going to derail our season.
No.
If anything, it's going to give us a good kick up the backside that we might need. And I think actually it could go on to push us off. You learn more about how your team responds from a loss rather than, you learn more about your team.
I think it might be just what we needed.
Yeah, no, I
At
think
the
you're
right time, we didn't get blown away.
No,
We spent the best part of 30 minutes with 12 men, and we'll talk about them in a brief moment. But just remember when you're disappointed about this loss, we've come off the back of beating Penrith and followed that with 4 wins from 5: Huddersfield, London, Salford, Sheffield. If we'd have won that game, everyone realistically wouldn't have been surprised if we'd have lost the week after. Being so fatigued, so drained.
And this is where stealing that one at Salford gives us the benefit.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
we're only 2 behind with a game in hand because we stole that one at Salford.
Yeah.
I think the thing to say about the game before we get on, we'll go through the tries, the decisions and the cards and everything. But I think the thing we've got to remember as well when we talk about performance was what you saw on Good Friday in our game was probably arguably the 2 best defensive teams in the comp.
Yeah.
It was a low-scoring game. We score for a bit of Bevan French magic. They score for kick. And then Hull barging over one-on-one, which we know he can do to pretty much any side, innit? So that shows you how tight the game was. It wasn't a performance. We weren't blown away.
No, not at all.
We had to face adversity with people getting sent off, and I think the lads still did us proud. But obviously, the results not gone our way.
Oh, I was
definitely positives we can take from that.
Oh, I was proud of the team. I mean, coming off, you think, look, we've had some real tough visits there.
We've had visits there where we've been nowhere near. We've not looked like scoring.
Even last year, second half.
Yeah.
I know it was tight first half, but second half it was like we're getting blown away here.
Yeah,
Nobody
we
was
did
battering
well
us.
just to hang on for spells.
But actually, if you look at the final score of that game, we were actually blown away in the second half. Under the previous coach, we got beat easy.
Got beat
Few
at home
times.
easily.
We didn't even turn up sometimes. We went there and we sent all the kids one time. This was...
Don't remember we only scored 2 points at home against it.
Yes, this was a proper performance against them, which that's all you can ask for, really.
And we've got them at the Magic, haven't we?
Yeah, so we'll
So-
play them at least twice more, but you wouldn't... I mean, you'd put money on those two teams making both finals still, wouldn't you? So you might play them another few more
We
times.
could potentially have to play Saints 4 or 5 times this season
yeah.
to win 2 trophies. If that's the aim and whatever. And
And plus those games will decide league leaders, you'd imagine.
yeah, and you've looked at Saints and they've actually slipped up against Salford and dropped 2 points that they should probably have got.
Right.
They should be sat on 12 points, really. If you look at no discredit to Salford,
No, but
but Saints should be beaten.
they should have beaten them. If they have 13, they would have probably beaten them.
Yeah. So I'd have snatched your hands off of this at the start of the season.
100%.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Going back to Magic last year, losing to Catalan so poorly, and the poor performance against Saints, was it the week
The
before?
following week.
Was it, the week
I
after,
think it's the
sorry.
following week, yeah.
Imagine saying in less than 12 months' time you'll have won the league leaders, won the grand final, gone 15 unbeaten, and you'll only lose your only 2 losses since then would have been Wakefield and Saints, including a World Cup challenge.
In the
You'd
league,
snatch your hands
that
off.
would be in the league.
Yeah. You'd
And the
have
Challenge
said-
Cup semi-final in extra time.
Yeah.
Wakefield in extra time. St Helens
Close to the
away
end.
on Good Friday, close, where they scored with 5 minutes left.
It's actually been a brilliant 8 months, and I think it's very
yeah.
easy to overreact. And I've seen a lot of people asking for so many changes.
Too much overreaction.
Can we drop Cade Ellis? Can we move such and such a body to such a position? Why did such and such a body not play?
There's been too much overreaction to what is a defeat away at a good side. You think
One of the top 2 teams.
Man City
in the
don't
league.
win every game, do they?
No.
But they lose games sometimes against good teams, or they don't win games against good teams, and that's okay.
I think the difference between rugby league and football is that the draw's uncommon, and you actually can't get it in normal time. So when 2 top teams play each other, in football you often get a 2-2 or a 1-1 or whatever, 0-0, and both get points and you can both be happy.
While
In this, there's going to be a winner and a
while
loser.
it hasn't happened, and we can't sound a bit sour, can we say golden point shouldn't be used in league games?
I still don't think it should.
'Cause
if you can't split the game's 80 minutes, if you can't win or lose it in 80 minutes, why would you make it 90? I get. It's like saying the Premier League should have extra time.
If they'd have gone for 2 at the end and got 4 apiece or whatever, that should be a draw.
Yeah.
You should have Wigan and St Helens as a draw or league games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
different conversation.
So let's go into this game. 4-2. 2-0 at half time. Saints were winning. Comes from a Tyler Dupree sin binning. He's not got a ban for it.
No.
I think that's fair.
Sin
If that's
bin's
the
sufficient.
ruling and they're saying that the sin binning is sufficient, I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah.
I don't think there was malicious intent. I don't think there was whatever. He hits him in the chest and it slides.
You see it all the time. I don't get.
I actually watched 2 games of NRL the day after, and there must have been 3 or 4 times where that happened and someone just bounces off.
You just don't. I don't get the outrage at all. He hits him in the chest. He barely even hits him in the head anyway. he rocks his head back, which makes it look worse.
I think it looked a lot worse than it was.
It looked
when you
a
put it
lot
on the
worse.
screen, you put it in slow motion, it's always going to look worse than it actually is. I mean, Matoti ran up with the bumpers up all game.
He's
well.
always
They
he's
all
also
do it. But
he's
the
also
bumpers up.
fallen before he even raises his elbow.
Yeah.
And
But that's what makes it look bad when he raises the elbow like that.
there's something I've got to say, and I've said it, I've asked for it for years. Can we turn that screen off? It is really doing my head in, because if Thompson stays down the tackle before,
Yeah, there was
Matty
like
Lee's
a bumper
possibly
tackle, wasn't there, from Matty Lee? It was head-on-head contact,
head
where he
on
made
head
no
con-
attempt to wrap the arms up. He's just bumped.
chest, he
a
hit
bit like
chest to
Burgess
chest.
on Fufu, my
Yeah.
back, if you remember that hit.
and because of how the rules are now about if players stay down and the ref looks at it on the screen, which I'm not sure they're allowed to do. I don't know if there's a rule around it.
They all do it, whether
They
they're
all do
allowed
it.
to or not. They're all doing it.
But the touch judge comes on, and then the ref is magically holding his ear, looking at the screen, as if he's being told something.
Well, he is. We know he is.
We know he's being told something, but he's watching it again on the screen.
Because if you watch it on TV, we know he's being told something.
But I watch and I just go, just turn the screen off. One, that'll encourage players to just get up because they're not going to get the ref looking at it again. But if Thompson stays down and doesn't get up, he has to probably go for a HIA, which he has to do a minute later anyway.
And Matty Lee's shown a red card.
Matty Lee's, he definitely gets 10 minutes, if not.
He's shown a red card for that.
I think it's a red card. He got two games for it, and I think he got 2 games for it. Does he have a record for it? Has he been known for that before?
I don't
Head on
know.
head.
So has he been banned for 2 games
2
now,
games.
Matty Lee's retrospectively?
Because
That's review
Respectively
panel.
for that.
Because he was careless in the way that he went to tackle Thompson.
In the approach to the tackle.
He dipped his head into it, so he would have been shown a red card had Thompson stayed down. He didn't stay down. The ref gave 6 again for some reason,
I don't know why he gives 6 again.
and then
Nonsense.
Dupree ran in with his bumpers up, and all of a sudden we're down to 12 men when we shouldn't really be. So but if
I
you
just want.
if you
I'm not crying out for consistency because I know that's it is impossible to aim for perfect consistency. But I want things like that given without the need of a player staying down.
That's the thing we've got creeping into the game, isn't it? A bit of gamesmanship.
Yeah.
Players are staying down, holding their heads, being told to stay down and grab the red.
now in
Because
this
they know
one,
it'll be reviewed on screen.
in
Ref
this
will
one,
look at it and
nobody did it. In this one, no one stayed down and pretended they were injured in this one.
No one did.
But you could see why somebody watching that game would do next time.
But
Yeah.
I'll pose this to you differently. If Wigan had come and started throwing their arms up and running at the ref after the the tackle on Thompson, very similar to how several Saints players did it for the Dupree elbow.
Saints physio did it for Burn.
Yeah. Then does he get a ban there? The fact that we try to just play on, it almost becomes a hindrance to you.
It
It's
is.
encouraging you
It is.
to try and
It's inclining you
gamesmanship.
to do it, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
inclining you to start with your arms in the air, staying down and holding your head.
Now, I think whenever I talk about like our discipline in future, or I talk about referee decisions in this game, I kind of want to park the Dupree yellow card, the Burn red, and the French try, because I think all them were right.
Yeah.
I think they were all correct decisions, but I do think if Thompson had stayed down, he would have got a red card. Lees, I think Dodd should have been shown a yellow for a trip, blatant trip where Field was away. There were lots of times we seemed to get a penalty on the first tackle in our own end, and they were giving them much further up the field.
Well, we was actually talking. There was a post. I can't remember by which company it was that talked about rugby league. Might have been serious about rugby league, about Wigan's ill discipline. So we went and had a look through it, Matty, at the amount of penalties that we've given away, and we actually found it quite interesting looking at it. So the Wigan Saints game.
He phoned me while I was chopping onions, and he looked all this up. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, that's true, but it went well. In the Saints game, Saints gave away 5 and we give away 8.
Don't waste your evenings, DG.
Obsessed.
I was making paella if anyone was interested.
Was any good?
It was very good.
Very nice. But the Salford and Wigan game, we both gave 6 away. Went over to the London game. London gave away 5 penalties in the entire game. We gave away 11 in a 60 points to 22 win. Huddersfield, we gave away 10 and they gave away 7. And in the Cass game, we gave away 11. They gave away 7. How are teams that are winning by such big margins giving away so many points? I don't get how that happens. The team on top should, in theory, get more penalties, and I want to sit down and have a look at the type of penalties that we are giving away, because it feels like we aren't giving penalties away for high shots as much as any other team. I don't think we're there. So it would be interesting to look at the type of penalties we're giving away as a team.
Well, it felt like we gave away a lot in the Sheffield Eagles game as well.
Yeah, I couldn't find the stats for that. But I'd love to just have a look at the type of penalties that we're giving away. Is it for offside infringements? Is it for technical infringements at the ruck, or where is that ill discipline come in? Because last year, I think we give second least penalties in the season.
The problem we've got as well is there's a lot of penalties this season that's being blown for crap. Like the Saints had one. This is not me being biased. This is about penalty. Saints conceded incorrect play of the ball. He didn't make an attempt with his foot, and I'm like, you blow for one of them, you're going to blow for them 50 a game, because there's no one. If you're going to do that, just say, right, your foot has to touch it. Just literally roll the ball back with you. It doesn't. You're blowing for crap and stopping.
We all
games.
say we want the game to flow, and we do. And usually, the game flows better when it's Wigan and St Helens, or Wigan and Warrington, or Wigan and Leigh, or whoever. Two good teams. And we spoke about why that is last week. It's obvious why that is. We don't need to go over it again. But we're now starting to see, because this was our first real big game since the Penrith game, and this was ref different. This was ref like Wigan and London was, or like Wigan and Sheffield was, or Wigan and Huddersfield, where they're giving loads of penalties, but there's no bad teams in this game where you think, right, let's give loads of penalties so they can stay close. Just let the game breathe.
Yeah, too many
Let the game breathe. Marker's not square.
When the ball's gone the other way to
when
the
you've
off,
made two
the
passes, who
marker's square.
cares?
It's not, and I think there's problems again. Sorry, Matt. I know you said you wanted to part the Liam Byrne one. I do agree with you. Yeah, let's not argue about whether the decision was right or wrong. The thing I don't like is the process around it, because at first it's referee shouts move, as in to say, right, tackle complete, get up and play your ball. Then when he realises that Mert Percival's still on the floor, he blows for a penalty. But I don't think he knows what he's blowing a penalty for.
No, he doesn't.
And then he watches the screen 3 times, with, again, like you said, Tom, his hand to his ear because he's listening, watches it on 3 times in slow motion repeats, and then sends him off. I'm a bit like, we've gone from it's tackle 1, get up and play your ball, to it's a penalty, to it's a red card.
Just throwing that as well, that Ben Thaler was saying
Yellow.
it was a
He
yellow.
was a yellow, yeah.
So
Which I'm not sure is right. I think it probably was a red.
I think it was a red.
But it shows you it's statement that video refs not getting it right, and no one actually knows what the difference. So when I say no one knows, the referees don't even know what's the difference between a yellow and red card, and they would have different opinions on it.
I would be interested to see whether there was a place in our game for doing something similar to rugby union and the TMO in rugby union.
Send him off for a yellow, and then
automatic
you've got 10
sends-
minutes to decide if it's a red or a yellow.
And the video ref watches it again and decides whether he thinks it should be upgraded to
I
a
wouldn't
red.
mind that because that would mean
I think it takes the pressure off the ref.
it does definitely, and it takes the pressure off the screens with the players
Yeah.
going oohs and ah. Like
You can just get on with it.
The players pointing at the screen is stupid, and the fans all going ooh and ah. You're not going to stop that, but the players and the physios in this case,
But
calling for a red,
it's one of
screaming
them.
at the ref.
Most tackles, you're either going, oh, is it a yellow or a red? So you know he's definitely going off for some length of time.
Well, the bird was definitely going to go off.
Yeah.
Because he did clobber him in the head.
So if you just give him a yellow, make sure Percival's alright, get him off the field, and then we can start again. And whilst that's going on, the video ref can say, yeah, I think it's upgraded to a red, or I think it's a yellow. And you can just make an announcement in the ref's ear, and the game just carries on. I just think that would be a way of taking the pressure off the match officials there and then, especially now that we've got a referee at every game.
I'd be interested to see how that worked. I'd definitely give it a try. I think the biggest injustice here is the ban that he's been given. 4 matches, which is the same as what Liam Watts got for shoulder charging someone direct to the head.
How many did Pele get for the first round?
3.
So you can intentionally close your fist with a swinging arm
And punch someone in the face.
punch someone in the face, pretty much,
A
get
helpless
3
person
games.
on the
A
floor.
Is
helpless
someone on his
person on
belly?
the floor, someone on his back who's in a prone position, and he's going in with a swinging arm. That is not as bad as an offence what Liam Byrne did at weekend.
Where he tried to tackle
Where he's
someone.
tried to make a tackle and accidentally got it wrong.
I'd have
It's
thought
ridiculous.
That's the problem.
It's
Right,
ridiculous.
That's the
was-
problem.
Give him a red card, fine. He's hit someone in the head direct. There's not enough mitigation, and it's a bit of a swinging arm. Fine, that is a red card. I agree with that. But 4 matches,
Matt, it's a month. It's
a
an
month,
entire month.
a month. You're missing an entire month for getting a high shot wrong. When
he wrapped his arms.
When if he doesn't fall before contact, it's a good shot.
But remember, he has
Liam
wrapped his arms.
Liam Watts a shoulder charge with no attempt to wrap the arms direct to somebody's head.
Pele's punched someone.
Pele punched someone who was on the floor with a swing where he cocked that baby back.
Oh, yes. He wasn't playing about. He knew what he was doing.
He didn't just jab him, did he?
No.
He properly swung that arm. And that's 3 matches, and Byrne gets 5, and Lees gets 2 for accidentally headbutting someone.
That was missed by
And
the official.
And Dupree gets 1 for accidentally headbutting someone, and none for his leaning with the elbow. It's absolute mess. It's carnage. What do they do? I don't know what they're doing in this match review panel.
I don't understand why Dupree has got less than Lees. My only thought could be Lees has a does he have a history with it? I
don't know. That could be the only thing.
That could be the only thing that
because they did the same
Does
thing.
Dupree at least even try and wrap his arms around, unlike maybe Lees did? Because Lee didn't, did he? He did a bumper tackle, essentially. I don't know. But essentially, yeah, it's a mess, isn't it? Like you say, Skipper, it's a mess.
Should we actually talk about the game
Talk
now
about
rather
game
than
rather than RFL referees and match review panel.
Because I just want to finish with this, sorry. It isn't going to change. And people asking for the game to change probably need to realise that it won't. They have to do something about head knocks.
Oh, it'll change next year.
And
you'll get more red cards.
when we spoke to Chris Brooks, he talked to us a lot about the HIAs and mentioned about how it's more dangerous for the actual defender when he gets caught on the shoulder, the attacker of the shoulder. The shoulder of the attacker.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Which is, he said, is part of the reason they're talking about lowering the tackle height. So the defender has to get lower and taking him away from the shoulder to protect the defender.
My problem there is like that.
You put him towards the hip and the knee, though.
Elbow, hip.
There is a big bit there.
No, I'm thinking about elbows.
but-
I'm thinking about elbows.
But they were saying shoulders and hips shoulders and knees are the big ones, are the most common ones.
Yeah.
Or you're 6 times
Do you
more
remember,
likely to get a concussion from a shoulder than anywhere else.
Do you remember Monaghan in the grand final? It was on it was on a hip.
Was it not? It was on Richards.
Oh, Richards, sorry.
Richards, on his hip. He was out before he hit the floor.
Yeah.
When you just get your tackle technique a bit wrong, and you get
It's going to happen. It's rugby league. You know you could get a knock to the head from an elbow, a shoulder, a knee, a hip, because it's physical contact. If that scares you, then rugby league's not for everybody.
Again,
Sorry, but that's my opinion on it.
obviously we spoke to
I think we should protect the ball carrier. You obviously have to protect the ball carrier who's charging in with his with control of the ball, and the defender is making the process to hit in. So I think it should protect like the Mark Percivals out of this situation.
There's 2 things with this though as well that I just want to mention. One, obviously you've never been able to tackle high.
No,
Correct.
They've just increased the punishment.
Yeah.
They've
So
only
let's
increased
not
the
forget that. Second of all, we talked to Brad's the other day, and he mentioned about his injuries, and he said he was fully aware that you could get injured playing this game. I think that's key to remember, that people know there's going to be injuries. You're playing this game knowing you may get injured. Is it James Bentley that's going to a specialist now about his concussions, because he's had a couple this year? They are going to happen. I'm not saying we can't avoid them, or we shouldn't be trying to avoid them.
We should try and avoid them as much as we can.
But the people in this game know that there is a chance you're going to get injured, and if you're playing rugby league, you've got to be aware of that. Right. So in this game, Bevan French's try. What a piece of magic!
Solo magic from Bevan once again.
Nice little kick in behind. Collected it himself. Takes this game to 4 points to 2.
Yeah. Harry Smith hit the post from the last green blade of grass, as he always seems to kick these kicks from.
It's alright though. I'd have kicked it twice on Sundays with Kieran. The bloke behind me.
We had some interesting people around us, didn't we, at the game?
Yeah. No. To make this clear, I'm not saying if someone misses a bad kick that it's acceptable to miss a bad kick.
No.
He's kicked it from the very last piece of grass, hit the post, and people are having a go at Harry.
Saying he should take the kicking duties off him.
Like,
for missing a kick from the touchline where he hit the post.
and someone was saying to me, like, oh, Kieran should be kicking. Where was it that he missed that?
Salford.
He missed, what, a shocker at Salford
Last year.
that cost them going to extra time. So, he's not perfect. No one's perfect.
No.
Ratchford kicked 41 from 41, was it, and then missed his next 4 at London the week after.
It's a stupid state.
It's so
Adam
stupid.
Kieran should kick it because not even just that's what I said. I should kick it. I'd kick that every day of the week and then twice on Sundays. Doesn't mean I'm going to do. It's so stupid.
If you were right in front of the post, then I can get behind it. But that, I mean, from where he was, literally on the touchline.
Yeah. It's not a bad one to miss, is it? 5 to 10 yards in.
It's a good job he doesn't support all KR. But they'd be on the 50th kicker.
Yeah.
Gee.
Missing all them difficult kicks and all the easy ones as well.
Anyway, it was a good, brilliant try by Bevan French. Bit of
Brilliant.
individual magic. Nice kicking behind. Gets good, nice grounding.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say our attack's not really shone through this year.
No.
Not in this game.
Whatever reason that's
We
for.
had 12 for a long time, and Saints are a good defensive team.
Yeah.
It was that type of game, like I said before. We score for a bit of magic, they score for king. Do you know what I mean? And then again, try and win games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's towards the end.
And the
anyway,
kick was, I mean, to move on to their try,
Yeah.
the kick, Makinson's try. It's bread and butter, isn't it, for Makinson?
Yeah, it was.
I think as well, the pin, it's Marshall and Field, in a position where none of them can really get a run and jump at it.
Well, somebody blocks off Wellesby. Is it Harry Smith?
I'm not sure.
Somebody blocks off Wellesby anyway, and it's basically a choice between do you block off Wellesby or do you block off Makinson? And I get that people might say, well, block off Makinson because he's got the pedigree, but Wellesby's decent at that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure with a running start from 10 metres where it was kicked perfect spot and time perfect, Wellesby would have scored anyway.
Yeah.
It was a bit of execution.
It
from
was
Saints,
well
wasn't it?
executed,
Yeah.
but we did give him loads of time to line up the kick, and that goes back to letting Walmsley run through us.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they scored, not because we messed up the kick, because that was perfect kick and you can't defend against that. And not because we didn't put pressure on the kicker, because we couldn't. The reason we couldn't put the pressure on the kicker, because we let Walmsley run through us. That's the problem. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And once again, once they'd scored that try, and we kicked it deep, and French raced up to try and trap Benison in his own 10 and give us a chance to score and win the game, he falls off the tackle and Benison gets to his 40. Those are the two moments we lost this game. Letting Walmsley run, letting Benison run. Because then we give them a chance to set up a perfect kick and we lost our chance to score again. And then by the end...
I'll also mention with the Makinson try, the tackle before, they go through the hands and Hurrell ends up getting a bit of loose ball, but he still gets a dominant... He still sort of wins the tackle.
He gets a quick play of the ball.
And
we're scrambling still from the Walmsley run.
That would have been your chance then to really recover and whatever, but Hurrell does really well to still get the ball and be dominant in his tackle and get the quick play of the ball.
And I'm a bit disappointed on the Hurrell try, the efforts on the Hurrell try, but I do think once they got that penalty with a minute left, we'd gone, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Our heads had gone. We
Yeah.
couldn't win. Our heads had gone. We let Hurrell in. Okay, fair enough. He is good at that. I'd have liked to have seen us try and stop it, but at that point, you've just basically conceded the penalty that loses you the game, or means you can't come back, I should say. So I'm not too disheartened.
No. And I've got a comment on the first half. For them to only go in 2-0 when they had, I want to say, 60-70% of territory. Most of the game was played on our line.
It was.
Yeah.
For them not to walk away with a 10-point lead, I think says wonders about our defence. I think the fact that they went down to 12, we went down to 12, sorry, and they took the chance to go at 2.
Yeah.
And you'd think, here you go, you could throw a shot at 12 men, and they decided that they wanted to take 2. I think that screams a lot about us. Positives. Obviously, it's not the perfect result and perfect game for us. But
No, but there were some, like you said, there's positives to take from it. We had a really good defensive display. I kept saying all the time to you lads as we stood at it, and I just went to you every time, like, Brad O'Neill is having an amazing game defensively.
He was incredible.
He stood out for me.
Defensively, he stood out for
Well,
me.
shall we
as
just
well.
have a quick look at some player stats that stand out in this game?
It was everywhere, wasn't it?
It was. I thought it was. I never kept saying it to you. I was watching, just making tackle after
Now,
tackle after
bear
tackle.
in mind, he went off the pitch for Cruz Lehman for a spell.
Yeah.
Brad O'Neill made 54 tackles.
That's ridiculous.
Liam
Isa.
Farrell and Willie Isa. Faz made 42 tackles. Isa made 30.
Yeah.
Cade Ellis made 47 tackles. Luke Thompson, 30 tackles and 16 carries for 101 metres.
Immense game.
And a
Thompson.
HIA.
And a HIA in that.
I wanted to talk about Brad O'Neill a little bit. I mean, we give him credit every week, don't we? I'm not 100% on moving him to 13. I'm not 100% on doing anything with him because I think what he's doing is perfect. We need him to be the defensive master that he is,
Yeah.
because we've got Harry Smith, we've got Bevan French, we've got Jay Field, we've got strike centres,
And when we want
Good
some
wing.
strike from 9,
we've got Leeming on the bench.
we've got Lehman.
I think Brad O'Neill, keep doing what you're doing.
I could see a world where he possibly spells there when
Leeming comes on.
when Lehman comes on.
I agree, but
But
I
I
don't
think
think
for the
full
start-
time.
It was interesting. You look at the Salford game, he wanted Brad O'Neill on the field. This game, he wanted Brad O'Neill on the
Yeah.
field.
As soon as French scored, get O'Neill on.
Yeah.
Defend this lead.
So I think that says a lot of how he's thought of.
I think it says a lot about how Pete thinks about Brad O'Neill. The game I watched last week, where it was 2022,
Am I right as well? He's the only player not to have a rest.
maybe
He played at Sheffield and came off, didn't he?
as Mago played every game.
Mago's played. Oh no, sorry, he didn't play against Sheffield, did he? O'Neill.
Right. O'Neill.
Well, either way, he's
Yeah.
still having a brilliant season.
having
No, he
a
did play
brilliant-
against Sheffield. I think he did.
Yeah, he did. Sorry, but they brought Lehman on early.
Leeming played most of the game.
But 54 tackles. Another thing I wanted to just point out: French and Smith both made 24 and 22 tackles apiece.
They got targeted, didn't they?
They
for
got targeted in
Sirinen
defence.
and Whitley.
Some very big tackles. Harry Smith had a really big tackle on Sirinen early on
Yeah,
to cause a drop ball.
yeah.
French had a couple of really big tackles. Again, meters coming out of yardage. Miski, brilliant, 121 from 16 carries. Jake Wardle, 100 from 12 carries. Marshy, 90.
And we're not saying here how well everyone played, because obviously we lost.
No,
But obviously our final third offence was a bit off.
was poor. But I want to put it into perspective. If you'd said to you're playing Saints and you're only going to concede 12 points,
Yeah.
you'd say, listen, we've got a chance there. So any game, if you only concede 12 points, you're in with a big shout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I think is the key thing to remember. If you
Yeah,
can keep teams to
100%.
2 tries, defensively you've had a good day.
Yeah.
Just don't think it was brilliant overall. Obviously the ending wasn't brilliant,
No, the last 10 minutes.
but
We'll go on again. We'll go to Thursday.
yeah.
We go again.
We'll see what's in this team. We'll see what they're made of next week. Next game.
One thing I want to say, I don't know if you were going to say the same thing then,
Go on.
Lewis. Obviously we had December was on the bench, and there's been a bit of criticism of Pete not using December. And one of the things that I find really funny with rugby league is that you could ask 100 people before the game what team you should pick, and half will agree and half will disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But the half that disagree, they won't pick the same
No.
changes, and they won't actually tell you who they want out of the team. They'll just tell you who they want in it.
Yeah.
So there was obviously a reason that he didn't bring December on. I think at 4 points to 2, do you want to bring a young lad on, or Willie Isa and Liam Farrell, who are really good tacklers? You could argue he maybe wanted some fresh legs, but Pete knows his team well. He didn't use Mago a massive amount. But obviously, defensively, he wanted Tyler Dupree on there, he wanted Brad O'Neill on, he wanted Luke Thompson on, Cade Ellis. They were the players he wanted on the field from a defensive perspective. And that last 15, 20 minutes without Burton, he stuck with Thompson and Ellis as his 2 middlemen. I know Ellis was named at 13, but probably played prop for the last 20 minutes because we didn't bring a second prop on. They were the two he wanted for not only going forward but the defensive side of the game.
Yeah.
And out of the guys available, they're probably your two best props. If we're being honest, along with Dupree.
The good news is that we've got Lee tomorrow, as we record this, Castleford away in the Cup, and then we've got Castleford again at home. That Castleford home game, Pete is thinking of Havard and Cooper being back.
Yes.
The week after is Huddersfield, and he thinks that's Walters coming back. That'll be like a new signing. 10 games in. So it'll be good to have those three back. Well, I say it back. Cooper and Havard back, it'll be good to have Walters full stop.
Yeah.
Well, we've not had Havard this year.
No, that's true.
We've had Cooper.
Cooper
came back for Cass and the Penrith
World
game.
Club challenge, yeah.
Matt had not been fully ready, but did a job and helped us won that
Well,
game.
we needed him, didn't we?
There are going to be three big bodies that are going to help us go forward.
And until that time, we'll lean on Harvey Hill to replace Byrne,
Chan.
and maybe Chan to replace Dupree for this week,
Yeah.
and put Ellis to the pack.
Yeah.
To the front row, sorry.
And there's potential to give Chan a game and maybe rest someone that needs a rest. Obviously, Dupree is forced to have one this week.
Yeah.
But who knows? Someone else might need a rest this couple of weeks coming up. And
Yeah.
should mention, obviously, he's not played for us today, but Harvey Makin played for London.
Yeah.
Off the bench. Seemed to go okay. First,
Well, is he there for a month?
I think it's a month he's there for.
So we'll see a bit more from him, I think, if he's gone straight in.
Yeah, definitely.
And Forber went on loan, didn't
To
he? Barrow.
Barrow. Hopefully see some more game time from him.
Before we go to the break, sorry, because I'm going to write this section up. Public service announcement from the Wigan Way podcast. Last year on Good Friday, I'm sure it was Good Friday, we made an announcement at the end of the segment saying don't throw things on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yes, well, the end of this year's Good Friday's episode is, we all love Good Friday. It's a bank holiday. You know, you get out there early, have a couple of beers, watch the whole derby on the game beforehand. But as we were coming out of the stadium, there was a little bit, I don't want to focus on this too much and take away from it because it was a very good event, but a couple of individuals who seemed like they had a bit too much and they were ruining it for the people there. That's you. Stay home.
Yeah.
Everybody, we don't want that in rugby league, we don't want hooliganism, we don't want violence, we don't want anything like that. So if that is you, stay home, or stay in the pub and watch it. We want, a good family.
But thanks for listening. On the bottle throwing, thanks for listening. I think we should.
No one threw any bottles this year.
We take credit for not throwing any bottles.
Yeah. So we're going to take credit this time. Well, this time next year when there's no fighting outside. Because it's our public service announcement.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Don't throw things on the pitch, and don't fight. We're not for football.
There we go. Right, take a quick break. Leave you with that announcement, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. So we're going to start talking about rivals round. It was round 6 of Super League. And we're going to start on Thursday night with the traditional derby of Castleford vs Leeds. Neither of these two have actually got the what you would consider derby available. The rival.
Obviously, it should be Leeds Bradford. Who's Cassie's?
Wakey,
right.
Yeah.
They're both in the same city, aren't they?
Lots of thing with Featherstone though. So will Castle play Featherstone?
Well, Wakefield are currently battling out with Featherstone. They've won one each already. So I guess if Fev had come up, it would be Castleford against Featherstone.
Them three are very, very close, and there's a bit.
And Leeds would have played Huddersfield and
probably got the same result.
Yeah.
But this game, 26 points to 6. Leeds won. Try for Cass was Joshua Sim. Danny Richardson kicked the goal. Lockie Miller got 2. Paul Momorowski got 2, and Reece Martin kicked 5 for Leeds. I want to start with a ban though. Cam Smith got a ban for a late hit on Danny Richardson. Have you seen it, lads?
I've seen it. It's not a ban anymore.
It's no longer a ban.
Common sense prevailed.
I don't think it should be a ban, and I'm not saying it should be. But why touch him?
Well, it's stupid.
Just wrap. He doesn't wrap his arm. Just hold him.
If you just pretend to wrap your arms, or just give him a hug, or do any of that, you're fine.
Really
it's stupid anyway. I don't get why Danny Richardson was on the floor looking like when you put a tortoise upside down by accident, and the rest of his teammates just looked at him and went, "Not this time, Danny."
Because he's looking for a penalty. But don't even give him the option, Cam Smith. Just hold him. Just grab him, and then it winds me up. the rule says you can't hit the kicker after. You can't hit him later. If you just tackle him and just hold him, you're going to be fine.
Well, we had that conversation after we lost to Wakefield, remember, last year? For that dodgy penalty
on, was it Will Dagger?
Looked like Booker T, Danny Richardson on floors doing a
Spinneroonie.
His teammates didn't even call for it though, they
No.
were just chasing kick down.
But this game was 0-0 at half time. Not the most thrilling of games. I thought Castleford were quite poor. Leeds were very poor for the first 40 minutes.
Leeds kept giving them chances on the line.
Yeah.
In good ball, and Castleford kept wasting them.
I actually saw a thing saying that Cass had, was it, let me get it right, 5 different spine combinations. So the 1, 6, 7, 9 and 13, there have been 5 different combinations already into 2024. They've got 62 points in 6 league games, which is really poor. And you consider they only got 6 against Leeds, they got 6 against us. I'm actually wondering where they got them points in total. And I will have a quick look just to remind myself.
Didn't they get a few against Huddersfield?
They got 14 against Catalan, 8 against Huddersfield, and 8 again. They got 22 against Salford in a loss as well.
Oh, that's the one when they nearly came back against Salford.
I don't understand how you can go into a season, name your squad, and then change your spine 5 times. If you change your spine 5 times in a season, you're probably disappointed.
They're experimenting a lot. They've tried Westerman from 13 to like prop, doing a bit like a James Graham role, being like a prop first receiver because he's got a good set of hands on him.
McShane's now come back from injury.
McShane's come back from injury, so he's filled in at 9. Yeah,
They
there's a
started
lot.
off with
They've moved that centre to full back as well, haven't they?
started off with
Broadbent.
Hooley. I don't mind you having to make changes with injuries. You can't do anything about that. But Luke Hooley's still fit.
It kind of just screams,
on
doesn't
bench.
it, that Craig Lingard doesn't know what his best 1 to 13
No,
is.
no, he doesn't.
And after, a full pre-season with them...
He doesn't know what his...
Andy Adam last
coming
season.
in.
He didn't know what his best one is, never mind.
Well, that's what I mean, so
He
it's
had
not
him
screaming
last
goal.
season. This isn't a brand new coach though.
No.
He was involved last year. When did he take over properly? 'Cause he was assistant, wasn't he?
Couple of months left when they sacked Andy last.
And he was involved then. So they knew he knows what squad he has. He knows what players he had. He knew Jacob Miller. He knew Jack Broadbent, Luke Hooley. He knew Joe Westerman and McShane. And they brought in players then.
Well, they knew Hurley from his time at Batley. He wouldn't have had him at Cast last year, would he?
Well, but they had the option to and I don't know how close they could have, but could they have kept Blake Austin? Could they have looked at Gareth Widdop? There were options there.
Now levelled, didn't they? Now levelled.
Yeah, mate, I think he was out of contract one time. He wanted to go. But
We'll talk about him in a bit.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just not good when you need... I mean, don't get me wrong, Cass's squad, I think most people would argue, is going to be very weak on paper anyway. But then especially when you're chopping and changing it every week and different people playing different positions, you're not really setting you up for any kind of success or to try and
you're
build
true, that's
success.
true.
You're not going to process, you're sticking to try and work from, even if you're not getting the results, but you can string a couple of good performances and build. You can't do that when you're chopping and changing with a weak squad to start with, so...
exactly. I just don't know where they go. I don't know what's going to improve, what's going to make it better. It's only going to get worse for me as they pick more injuries up. As this season goes on, it's only going to get harder and harder for them. And the amount of ball they had, they should have put 20 points on Leeds in that first half.
At least 3 tries. They should have had at least 3 tries in the first half.
And they didn't even look like scoring.
Nope. Same as what we said when we come off ourselves. We said they didn't look like scoring all that time.
It really does make you... I don't know.
They're
I
not.
really don't
They're
know.
not a very expensive squad, either. Let's be honest.
No.
And the fans at the minute are saying it's IMG's fault because we're spending all our money trying to get IMG points and not competition
They've done that for the last 15 years.
competition points. Well, you're right. They should have done that they should have done that because it's the right thing to do, not because the spreadsheet told them to. But they are in that position where now they need to prioritise other things rather than on-field success. I don't have any
very
sympathy.
lucky London's here.
I don't have any sympathy. Where do you see them getting their first win?
London.
Maybe. Or let's see if you play them at the Jungle. They might turn somebody over at the Jungle. They only just beat Batley, didn't they?
Yeah. Right. Big point in this game. Sam Lasoni came on for Leeds. Brought a big change in the momentum of the game and got Leeds going forward. We mentioned it last week and I want to mention it again. The two impact forwards, you would say for Castleford off the bench, Sam Hall and Albert Vete, in that entire game, 6 carries between them.
What did Lasoni do? You have a quick check about
I'll just have a quick check of Lasoni.
What did Lasoni get by himself? Because it does feel like he does lift him a bit when he comes on.
Yeah.
He obviously can't do many minutes, but he does lift him a bit.
Sam Lasoni, 12 carries for 133 metres.
Well, there you go. That's a proper impact sub, isn't it? Then,
Yeah. And Sangare, who also came off the bench, 6 carries for 56 metres, but made 20 tackles.
Yeah. I watched this game with a lot of mates who are rugby union players or rugby union supporters, and they were convinced Sangare's tackle technique was going to lead to some red cards because he's very upright and he was a bit like what's his name, Matty Lees on Thompson, where he very chest first, and you're going to have some accidental head clashes there. But obviously didn't get sent off in this
That might be
game.
something that has to be looked at and considered. 2 tries, Momirovski.
Yeah.
He's very steady.
I like him.
He's a steady centre.
It's all right, isn't it?
Does a job. Lockie Miller, 2 tries.
Yep.
Explosive.
Yeah.
Pace. And to broken defences. Very similar to Dufty, Field, Wellesby. Will cause problems to broken defences. He took 27 carries, 180 metres. A big shift from Miller, who obviously is still learning his game. You can't forget that he's not played over 40 games of professional rugby league. Even
I think once things dry up a little bit, it'll be good as well. You know, the fast track. Rather than it was a bit of a crappy night in Castleford.
I remember once on back in the Super League pod days before we did this podcast, I wrote into Super League pod about Cade Cust when he came from Australia, and we have a tendency in this country to expect the world of our Australian imports
immediately.
And actually, Cade Cust had played fewer games at top level than Harry Smith at that time. They were both young halfbacks, but Cust had played a handful of games at halfback and maybe 10 as a hooker for Manly. And Smith had played 20 games the previous season under Lamb.
Yeah.
And I think, well, obviously not going to be on that much money, really. And Miller's not going to be on that much money compared to the others who mentioned there, Field and Wellesby and Dufty. He might take a bit of time. He's still learning his game. He's still very young. He's not played that many games, and he's come from a different background of rugby sevens.
Yeah.
I bet he's not played as much as, for example, a Jack Broadbent.
No.
He won't have played as many games as maybe even Luke Hooley. So, if you think about it, we expect the world of these NRL players because they're coming from the NRL, but they've not played much NRL. Kieran, before he came to Catalan, had played maybe a dozen NRL games in his career. At various different positions and very different teams. Cade Ellis hadn't played many games for any team. Mago hadn't played many games. The ones we get, usually...
Either back end,
or if we're getting young guys like we seem to want to do at the minute, they've not played very much. They're looking for a chance to prove themselves.
And
There's only really French played a lot in the NRL, and that was as a winger. And
even then, he didn't play that many.
He played quite a lot as a winger, but even then, when we signed him, he hadn't played for 18 months really.
Yeah, it's the way that it's going. You look at Hull Care, who've had a couple of big Aussie signings. Kenny Dowell's the back end of his career. Give a good few years, but was back end of his career. If we're being honest, same with Hiku.
Warrior Hargraves for next year.
Should we go over to the whole game?
Yeah, the whole derby.
34 points to 10, 28-0 at half time. Tries for Hull KR were Kelpie Tanganoa, Burgess got 2, Hiku, Bachelor, Lewis, Evalds. They only kicked 3 goals out of
About 1 million.
At least 7 attempts, 7 tries. Try scorers for Hull FC, Cam Scott and Jaden Ockenbaugh. Daniel McIntosh kicking 1.
Yeah.
I just feel sorry I feel sorry for Hull FC, I should say. Tony Smith. We can talk about it every week. No closer to any answers.
No.
I feel sorry for the environment that there is around the owners of the club and the management.
Well, he lost the play for your coaches dinner match against Ian Watson, that you call it, Lewis. He lost this match. I was convinced he was done. And he's not done.
Who should get though? Who could come in and do a better job?
I did see a thing that I read to you. Was that not true?
It was April 1st, mate.
Was it an April Fool's joke?
How did you get done with an April Fool's
I
joke?
got done with an April Fool's joke, but I thought it was believable. It said that Lee Radford had gone back to Hull FC, and Tony Smith was staying in an advisory role.
That is believable. Yeah, that's a stupid April Fool's joke because that's believable.
I thought it was.
They've got to be like that big prop forward from Bradford with the bald head when they said he was going on Love Island. Yeah. That's a proper April Fool's joke because it's not believable, is it really?
To be fair, it was Super League banter page that put it out.
Oh, was it?
Not a reputable.
They do sometimes show news.
Well, you know, it's the rematch of the Play for Your Coaches dinner match this week. Hull FC are hosting Huddersfield.
Jesus,
Play for Your Coaches dessert or something.
Like,
so what happens if he loses this one? Because we've said for weeks, if he loses this, he's in trouble. Like, is he in trouble?
I think
I said a couple of weeks ago, he might not be in trouble. They might have said, listen, we've got no cap space. We need to get rid of 10 players.
We're definitely going to be in IMG.
We're definitely going to be
12.
in IMG top 12. Spend this year getting loads of kids' games, work out which ones you want to keep, which ones you want to let go. And here's the free reins to next year.
If they've done that, fair play.
Now, as a Hull fan, I'd be really annoyed at that when Pearson said last year that come back to me, we're still rubbish in a year.
Isn't that what they did with Applegarth and then sacked him anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it'll be interesting to see what is the plan there. Because I don't know.
No.
I can't see a vision. You look at Lee when they were in the Championship, you could see what they were building, you could see the squad they were trying to get. Hull KR 2 years before they've started to get successful, you could see that they were changing the way they played and being more expansive. And Catalans. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. I don't.
I think they're going a bit like Warrington a couple of seasons ago, where they're trying to sign big stairs on money for try and solve, try and fix long-term problems with short-term solutions type thing.
I think they're in a worse position than what Warrington were in.
Yeah.
I don't think they've got as much money to chuck at it than Warrington did.
No.
Warrington chucked a lot of money at the problem, and they're a better team for it. I don't think Hull can afford to do that.
I don't know if Hull can afford to do it. I don't know how much cap they're on or anything like that. And it would.
I don't think they'll be able to go and get like a Matt Duffy, George Williams, Paul Vaughan. Like, that's 3 expensive players.
Yeah.
Plus, then Burgess will be on a bit. Burgess will be on a wedge.
I don't know who they can go and get. Who's available? Could they go and get? Would Holbrook want to go? I know he was talked to the Wire job, and obviously he signed a contract with the Roosters.
If he didn't want to go to Warrington,
he's not going to want to go to Hull, is he? You know what I mean? It's such a difficult situation for him.
It's getting to the point as well now where if you did want to change coach, it's not just a case of who do you get, but who would want to take that job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Would you want to take that job as a young upcoming coach? Maybe to try, if he was assistant, maybe I think they'd have to take
but he is one, though.
A stab on an assistant. Maybe
here's one for you. If they go for a young upcoming coach, that's not guaranteed anything.
No.
And what big name's going to want to come over here? Or what Aussie is going to want to come over here and fix that problem?
Well, someone will want to prove themselves by.
Someone will want to prove themselves.
They'd have gamble
because
if do it like a Leeds have done with Rowan Smith.
Because if it doesn't work, it's not the end of your journey then in NRL. Because you just say, oh well, that was a basket case, so you're not succeeding with Hull FC. Well, no one could. Even Tony Smith couldn't.
But that's what I mean. But if you're a Hull fan, you're not going to be able to get one of the best coaches around. Let Sean Wayne and Sean Wayne's available.
The one I thought of just then was Lee Breers.
They're not going to be able to get Lee Breers.
No.
They're not going to be able to get Sean Wayne. They're not going to be able to go and get Holbrook. So you're not going to be able to get an established coach. You're not going to be able to go and buy someone out of the contract. You're not going to get a Wayne Bennett. I'm trying to think of the top coaches in the world, right? You're not going to be able to get someone like that. So you either get an English or young up-and-coming coach, and if it doesn't work and doesn't get sold straight away, it's still the same toxic spread of they've not put the money in. And if you go and get an Aussie, you've got the risk of they're looking for coaches anyway. There's already circling around Burgess going back to Souths. And who'd want to touch Hull FC when you could just wait and possibly get a better job soon?
Don't know.
I really do feel for him.
Maybe they just ride this storm out and
If there was
stick with Tony.
If there was a coach there, do you think Hull FC would have sacked him by now? If there was a coach to get,
You don't know. Like they could have said behind the scenes, Tony Smith, you've got time. You can be bad this year. Maybe they're thinking like in the NFL, teams are bad for a few years, and then they can build and get good again. In the NRL, they are. Brisbane won the wooden spoon a few years ago. Maybe would they think about the IMG thing coming in? They're saying right, let's be bad for a bit, but let's build for the future, and you're the man. Maybe.
that
We don't know that.
we only know that from the outcome. If he doesn't get sacked, that's obviously what's been said.
That's what they're going for.
If he does get sacked, then obviously they wanted more immediate results. Right, should we move over to Warrington now?
Yeah, go.
Watch your head if you're going to Warrington. Watch your head for those speakers. Or not kind of crashing down. I can't believe nobody died. If that had hit someone on the head, it would have killed them, I reckon, from that height.
Yeah.
And we just brushed over it because it missed everybody, but that is dangerous.
Like,
That's really dangerous.
there's always the jokes about amateurish rugby league, but that is actually really bad.
We as a society have brushed over it because
No one got hurt.
No one got hurt by it. But
There was, I think someone has got caught by it and whatever, but she was all right. Like, there was £1 million lawsuits sat there. There was £1 million plus lawsuit there waiting to happen if that had hit someone. Like, that could be Warrington done. I'm not even joking. Like, should we focus on the rugby? 24 points to 32. Warrington were losing 12 points to 18 at half time. Tries for Warrington were George Williamson, that's a new one.
Williamson. The young lad coming through.
George Williams, James Harrison, Toby King and Zane Musgrove. Thewlis kicking 4 goals. Tries for Catalan, Abdul, Johnston got 2. Rouge, Davies and Garcia. Abdul kicking 4.
This was a Jordan Abdul masterclass.
Yeah,
It was.
Absolutely ran the show. Jordan Abdul.
and he kicks goals. Could Hull KR recall him?
Who do you drop him for? I've seen a few Hull KR fans saying this, saying we can't bring him back because he wouldn't get in the team. Who do you drop for Jordan Abdul?
Could May play in the centres?
We've already got too many centres. It's a good question, but I think they've let him go because he wasn't in the best 17, and now they might be regretting it because of his kicking game. But Catalan,
But also neither of May or Lewis is a game organiser
No.
as such, and they're developing, but
Catalan have got an absolute bargain 12 months out of Jordan Abdul, haven't they?
the play that they needed.
Exactly the play they needed. Exactly.
And
You ran it
Yeah.
for him. He just ran it. Ran the show.
He did. Burgess was very critical after, wasn't he? So it wasn't good enough for his team. And I can see what he means, because when you could score 24 points, you shouldn't be expecting to be walking off with a loss to your name after you score 24. That is enough to win you a game at Super League. So he would be disappointed he's walked off with a loss after scoring 24 points.
Yeah, I think he'd be annoyed as well.
I don't think for two top teams like that, who should both be in the top 6 at the end of the year, a game with 56 points in it is good enough defensively.
I don't know. These two teams do like to
They like to
turn
play.
it on, don't they?
They like to play.
I was very entertained.
But would Wigan or Saints be happy
It's another
conceding 20 points?
Warrington game where I was very entertained. I was entertained when they played Hull KR.
I'm not disagreeing with
I was
the
very
entertainment
entertained
factor.
with this game. I thought it was a good game.
I just think conceding 30 points, does that win you the big games? Would you be happy as a Wigan fan conceding 24 or 32 points in a game, even if you won? I wouldn't be personally.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
That says to me that
championships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something in this game though. Paul Vaughan sin-binned for a tip tackle. Can you remember how long he's got for that, Matty?
Vaughan, 2, isn't it?
Is it 2 game
Yeah,
ban?
2.
I've seen a lot of people comparing it to the Harry Smith ban at the start of the season, and it really does amaze me that people are arguing that these are identical and Harry Smith got no ban and Vaughan's got 2, because they are completely different there is not an ounce of similarity between them other than they fall into the same category. Harry Smith, 1-on-1, bends, hits the law, hits the hip, goes into it. The hips do go above the horizontal. Obviously gets a yellow card, and I'm okay with that. But it was 1-on-1 and he's tackled law. A bit of the momentum from the defender. The match review panel stated that the actions of the attacker contributed to the outcome.
Which you do.
Which it did. Paul Vaughan is the third man into that tackle. Puts his hands between the legs.
Yeah.
Picked him up by his nuts.
Picks
and drove him one
Picks
time.
him up,
Yeah.
lifts his hips, and I know his legs don't technically go above the horizontal, but his
It's a
hips
bad
do.
one, this, you know.
It is bad. He then drops him, and look, he's not.
He drives him.
And I know.
I don't think he drops him, I think he drives him.
I think he drives him, but he lands on his shoulder. And I said, well, he's not landing on his head. But Vaughan's not in control of that.
No.
And he's put him to the ground. He hasn't just gone, oh no, I've lifted here, let me put him down on his back.
Yeah.
He's properly driven him after grabbing him between the legs.
You got to let go like Kieran did in the final.
Yeah.
And then you only get one match ban.
There is so much. He's the third man into it as well. It's
Third
not
man
like,
makes it worse. Third man makes it much worse.
And
that's why it's worse than Kieran's, that's why it's worse than Smith's. It's a stationary player who's
been held up by two other people.
There's no momentum like when... Because obviously Kieran was trying to tackle Kai Pearce, wasn't he?
He was. I think he just got. He was the second man into the tackle, wasn't he, in that situation?
He also picked him up by his nutsack. Can we
Yeah,
just
that-
kind of go over that?
Yeah,
We're just glossing over the fact
yeah.
that a man picked up the man up by his nutsack and drove him into the floor with his shoulder first.
That's like an indie wrestling move as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Should we move over to Salford Lee?
Go on.
Salford with another win. Now, I think we all backed Lee in this, didn't we?
Well, the listeners got it right.
Listeners backed Salford. We all backed Lee.
Yeah.
Salford win 32 points to 22. Ethan Ryan 2 tries, Braley 2 tries, and Sneed 1. Sneed kicking 6 goals. Hanley gets a hat trick.
And still loses.
Lachlan Lamb gets a try. Matt Moylan kicking 3 from 4.
What was the best moment of this? You phoned me and said, listen to Barry McDermott here. Moylan lined up a kick at the very end, and Barry says he'll take his time with his kick, and he'd already run up and kicked it. Said it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, he won't take his time.
Yeah, he'll take his time with this to make sure.
And it
they
would
just absolutely nailed it
He'd
over
already kicked it and gone
with
straight.
4 minutes left. Oh, like I got what he was getting at, but
Commentator's curse. Real
Yeah.
commentator's curse.
yeah. What do you make of this game? It was two sides that I think have definitely got attacking threats.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Question marks around the defence. Do you think of these two teams?
I'm not 100% on the final Salford try. The video ref decision, I think there was definitely a knock-on in the build-up.
The Ethan Ryan one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there
I
was
didn't
definitely
think
a
that was a
knock-on. I
try.
don't know why the ref waved it on. The video ref, waved it on.
I thought it was a game of take and pass.
Yeah.
Two teams playing without a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was. I do think that...
We know they're expansive, they like to flow the ball around, but sometimes you just have to roll your sleeves up and get on with some hard work,
I think Lee have got a few injuries up there that are causing a problem.
Lee have got...
obviously
we
missing a
questioned their
Maughan.
depth at the start of the season, didn't we, Lee?
And I think the depth
And Salford's actually, to be fair.
I think the depth of Lee has actually held up. I know they've not had the wins as such,
But it definitely improved.
But they've not been blown away. They lost by 10 to Salford.
For a team with 2 points, when you say Hull FC have got 2 points, Lee are a much better side.
Yeah, and just to point out, obviously, in the standings, Lee are still positive 18 on the points difference.
Yeah.
So even though they've lost 4 games...
They're fourth bottom and they've got a positive points difference.
Yeah,
That shows
they've
had
lost
the
by
bottom
10, by 6, by 6, by 8.
And they should have only lost this one by 2 because that last trial wasn't...
So I'm not massively worried about Lee. I think the fact that they're missing a Maughan, they're missing a Pape, they're missing Asiata, who have 3 massive pivots in them defensively.
Yeah.
And
they can go one more week before they figure it out, but
yeah,
I think they'll figure it out.
They'll get there. Fair play to Amila Hanley, who's obviously
taking his chance.
He didn't really get the chances to play full back. He had a couple on the wing at Wigan.
Yeah, we had a
Last
conversation about that before, haven't we? About Marla Hanley being chosen as third choice fullback before the season starts, and then French and Hardick are injured, and so you put Hastings back there and reach. So we were never a fan of that.
No. But he didn't really get a lot of chances last year. Obviously, the back
He
five.
had a bad injury last year, I think.
He had a back, but I mean, the back five of League was pretty fit throughout most of the year.
Even the
O'Brien.
even the Lee fans will be admitting, and I've seen a few of them admitting last year they were lucky with injuries.
Yeah. You look at the back. In fact, let's go to the back seven.
They
They pretty much always played. There was only Latelli that missed. Who missed an extended
Latelli
period.
missed a while, yeah.
But they brought in Ed Chamberlain, and Ed Chamberlain stayed there for the rest of the year.
That's actually some of the only good depth they've got is Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Or had, sorry. Now
So-
Hanley's back. You can say, that's a decent backup winger and he's got to take his chance.
Yeah. Salford. Sneed's playing well, isn't he?
He is. He's playing very well.
Yeah.
He's dominating games. He has everything over the game. He's controlling so much. You said it the other week that he played in a dinner suit against us.
Yeah.
And similar thing goes.
I wonder why this season. He's always been good. I mean, he always has a good kicking game. He's good at kicking goals. But he's got a bit of a running game. It's like he's commanding games
I
this
think
season.
Last year, obviously,
Definitely the best I've ever seen.
last year we had Brodie Croft alongside him, who
is
is your major attacking threat. Before that, they had Jackson Hastings, and who did they have in between? Who would play there?
I don't know.
Obviously Sneed wasn't there when Hastings was.
Yeah.
But in his time there,
Blanking a bit here for Salford half-backs.
I know he's always been a bit of the organiser, and they've had a creative half alongside him. Croft 2 years took majority of the creative aspect, and maybe Sneed just got a little bit stuck at first receiver, getting the ball to where he wanted. Now with Custer, who is quite direct, quite a runner. Sneed's attacking side, but I think it's fair to say, obviously, Custer's not the attacker that Croft is. He's not the attacking half that Croft is. That maybe Sneed's had to step up a little bit, and the mixture of his controlling game and this is making him really stand out.
Might be Lola here you're thinking of.
Yes, sorry, yeah. They had Lola here for a spell. That was when they did that. Wasn't there a switch with Rob Louis and someone else?
Yeah,
Right.
after Hastings. So they had Hastings and Louis, and then they switched Robert Louis for... what's his name I just said?
Lola here.
Lola here.
Lola here.
And they had Lola here and Kevin Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point being is the fact that different partnership now, Custer's a different halfback to Croft. He isn't the same. We all like Kate Cust.
Oh, big fans of Kate Cust, yeah, big fan of Kate Cust.
But he definitely isn't the same attacking threat that Croft is.
It's not even the same attacking threat he was when he started with us. He sort of stopped doing it, didn't he?
He's had to change. He had a couple of injuries and stuff like
Putting
that.
himself about defensively as well this game, Kate Cust.
I like Kate
He's
Cust.
proper putting himself about.
I really do like Kate Cust.
But
He offers a lot to this team.
my point being with that is that
It's allowed Sneed to come out his shell a little bit.
I don't necessarily say allowed to. I think he's had to.
Yeah.
And
Who would you say was the best partner for Sneed in his career? Albert Kelly? Connor?
Kelly at Holden.
Albert Kelly probably would be, you'd say. Or
Croft.
Croft, probably.
Yeah, Croft.
I mean, he did get picked, obviously, for England, didn't he, by Sean Wayne Maxey? And probably not, he didn't maybe play in... It won't be his first...
No,
his first pair.
he wasn't first choice, no, but
he did play a game, so obviously
Yeah.
Wayne saw something in that he quite liked. And, so maybe
That
he was
game
playing
was-
well, but the spotlight was on maybe Croft a little bit more, so he just went a bit under the radar, maybe. But he's definitely stepping up this season. He's having a terrific season, Max Sneed, this season.
Last thing to mention about this game.
We've been Man of Steel so far, I would think.
Well, if he stays fit, he wins Man of Steel.
No,
If he stays fit, he wins Man of Steel. The system is set up that way. And
we know.
if Salford do well, he gets 3 points, and not particularly right in my opinion, but that's the way it is, isn't it? Shorrocks, Partington. Partington was back for Salford.
Yeah. A lot of our old players in this game,
Yeah.
they probably got 4 or 5 each. Lee and Salford.
I'm trying to just check because I can't remember, did Shorrocks start in this game? So I'm just trying to have a look through the match announcements. But I really liked how Shoz was playing at 13 and doing that 80-minute spell, and I wouldn't be surprised that Partington becomes more of a proper at Salford, especially with the injury to Singleton, which is looking like he could be out for the season.
Yeah.
Well, they seem light in the forwards anyway. So.
And they already did, yeah, you're right.
Shall we move over to Sunday? Last game
Yep.
of rival round. Huddersfield, London. London led this game 6-0.
We said last week, was it, about Hakim Miloudi? They didn't pick him.
I know. 26 points to 6, Huddersfield win. First thing I want to point out, why? I can't remember who scored for Huddersfield, but when I checked on Twitter, and it said that the try scorer, he was wearing holding a flag that said "Trust the process."
I've not seen that.
And I looked at it, and I had to close Twitter down, log back on, just to make sure my eyes weren't like whatever.
I've got to find this.
But there is something there about trying to make people believe this. Trust the process. And being 18 points to 6 against London and kicking 2 for Lulla here, again, was another interesting decision.
Well, we kicked the 2 against London, didn't we?
I thought we did it right before half time. I don't think we did it middle of second half, did we?
No.
Easton Masters played fullback this game. Halsall.
We just talked about Cass. They keep changing
They
the
do.
spine.
They do. Halsall played, didn't
Yeah, Clune and Lulla here were in the halves. No Ollie Russell. I
he?
think,
Yeah, I've seen it. It's Adam Clune.
I know, I've already seen it. I don't get why you would put on Trust the Process.
Look at that font as well.
I'll share that on the Twitter. Huddersfield, though, according to the Super League website, only completed at 64%. Not great for trusting the process.
They'll have a banner next week that says "Protect the ears," something like that.
Warm ears equals happy coach.
Yeah.
This was not convincing from Huddersfield at all.
I was going to give them some praise for they beat what's in front of them for a second week in a row.
Yeah, they've won. They've done the job. But
Think about what they've done, and this is what Huddersfield are going to be, and you better get used to this if you're a Huddersfield fan. They've lost against St Helens, they've lost against Wigan, but they lost against somebody else. I can't remember who.
I'll have a quick look.
But they've beaten Cass easy, they beat Hull FC easy, they beat London easy, so they'll just beat all the worst teams.
Yeah, they're not winning. They can't win the big ones, can they?
No.
They seem to be beating who they're expected to beat.
So Huddersfield this year, starting off the
Beat
season,
Lee, didn't they, at the start of the
Beat
season?
Lee.
That was a bit of a surprise.
got battered by Saints 28-0.
Yeah.
Lost to us after the World Cup Challenge.
Yeah.
Beat pumped Castleford.
Yeah.
24-12 to Hull KR, but in that game, Hull KR missed all 5 kicks.
That's
if I
it,
remember
right.
right.
That's the one. I was
Could-
like
should
lost
have been
against Hull
30.
KR. So they've won 2 out of 5 in the league,
Battered Hull FC.
and they battered Hull FC in the cup.
Beat London.
And they've beat the teams you'd expect them to beat, plus they beat Lee.
Yeah. So, are they good enough for top 6?
Oh, they won 3 out of 6, haven't
Yeah.
Trying to think.
They've won 3 out of 6.
they?
They've
But the
beat,
teams they've lost to are last year's top 3 of last year's top 4.
Yeah. Like I said, they beat teams that you'd beat, asked to beat. They beat Lee, that's 50-50 one. But they beat Cass,
Yeah.
and they beat Huddersfield.
I'm going to answer your question. No, I don't think they're winning for top 6. I think
Top 8?
I'd put top 6. I'd think a team like Warrington, Leeds, I would probably pick to get
What
in
about
there
Salford?
before Huddersfield, and Salford to get in there before Huddersfield.
I think Salford would be an interesting... If they played Salford right now, you'd back Salford, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because Salford have shown they can do it a bit big games, a bit more. They've obviously had a few quality wins.
If we take the top 3 being obviously Wigan, Saints, Catalan, there's 3 other spots in the top 6. I think Warrington, Leeds, Hull KR, Salford are in there before Huddersfield. I think they're quite low down that pecking order.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think there's such a big gap from the bottom 3, London, Hull FC and Cass.
Yeah.
I think Huddersfield are a team that beat teams well.
They've
When they
certainly,
win, they win
they've
well.
certainly put points on in those 3 games, those 3 teams they've beaten.
When they win well.
And they've got to play Hull FC again next.
Again, with the thing of trust the process and whatever, they do stick to them processes really well. And in games that you win, that will lead to you getting points.
Yeah.
I just don't think there is anything that says they can beat, consistently compete with last year's top 6.
No.
No, I'm with you.
They might turn one over if one has a really bad day and they play really, really well. But they played poorly against London and won by 20.
Yeah.
Teams have gone down there and not played well and won by 40-50.
Yeah.
So I think that really shows you where London are where Huddersfield are as a team. London, decent effort from them.
That's all we can say every week, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're just such a cheap squad that all you can ask for is effort.
Well, I am going to ask, probably halfway through the year, which players from this Huddersfield squad, from the London squad, do you think will get picked up by other Super League teams? Just so we can, after about 10 to 12 weeks, have a think about it.
Right now, I'm only thinking of Kershaw and
Maludi.
maybe Melody.
Fullback might get one for me.
Maybe.
What's that? Ollie
Leyland.
Leyland.
He's alright. His brother's meant to be better. But he tore his ACL in pre-season. So his brother is a 9 and he's meant to be Bill, he's called. And he was the Championship Young Player of the Year last year.
They might get picked up to be around the first team squad because they're still both very young.
They're both very young, yeah. Young squad.
Yeah, so that wraps up Super League this week. Any more comments, lads?
No. Rival round is in the rear view.
Yeah.
We're properly into the season now, aren't we? Everybody's lost a game.
Everyone's lost the game. Everyone's had a close one. Everyone's had a band that they think's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
We've had some upsets.
Had some upsets.
We have, yeah. Had some good games as well.
And like I said, the league table is really, really close when you actually look at the league as it is. Saints and Catalan are both at the top with 10 points, playing 6 games. Both lost a game. Warrington have lost 2, in third on 8, and we're in fourth on 8 points, having lost a game, but we played one less. So we win that game in hand. We're back top. And assuming we win by more than 4, we would go top on points difference. Do you think it's going to come down to points difference this year?
Well, it did last year, didn't it, with the top 3? I don't know. You never know, do you? It's a long season.
I really do believe this is another season written over it where points difference, maybe not all 3 like it was last year, but points difference will definitely affect.
Do you think it'll be the same 3, or are Warrington going to be involved?
I don't know who the points difference side of it will affect, but I think there'll be a position, and it might be whether someone sneaks into the 6 on points difference, or whether someone sneaks in to the top 4.
What did we win the league with last year? 40 points?
Yes.
40 points.
I'll check now. If you give
I
me
think
30
40 points, Mark. I think it might be 40 points again. Looking for top at league, 40 points again.
Well, it allows you to lose 7 games.
We lost 7 games, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think it'd probably be that again.
I think that's the aim. If you can lose 7 and no more, that should get you the top of the Premier League. Top of the Premier League. I was thinking in the Premier League, it's like football, innit? You have to get 40 points to stay up.
Yeah, that's weird. And then you got 40 points to stay up in the Prem, and 40 points wins you the Super League. But it's 2 points for a win, and there's only 27 games.
But it's the way it is. If you get 40 points in Super League, you should win the comp. Yeah. Realistically.
If it's a strong comp like it has been the last few years, top end.
Yeah.
Where Wigan, Saints, Catalan all take points off each other.
I think if you got 40 and didn't win league leaders, you would be disappointed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose you would. But think about it. Last year, we
lost twice to Catalan.
We lost twice to Catalan and beat them once. We beat Saints once, lost to them once. Saints and Catalan, I can't quite remember, but they probably split the season as well.
I'll have a look.
Had 1 win against each other each. So it's like you take points off each other, aren't you?
Yeah, it's
we
that
only took 4 points
thing.
off Saints and Cass.
They beat Saints once, twice.
3 times already.
I'm lost.
When we spoke about Lionel Richie, only played twice. Oh, so they did the double over Saints.
Yeah, they did the double over Saints.
They've got to feel aggrieved then if they beat Saints twice and beat us twice and didn't come top. But that's their own fault.
They had a few slip-ups, didn't they?
Yeah,
they went through a spell when
they were 4 points clear and playing us next. That's what they needed to win that game. And
yeah, it went.
They lost to us and they lost to Huddersfield, didn't they?
But Hull KR the week after.
Oh, Hull KR, yeah.
But they lost games to Huddersfield and they lost. Looking at who they lost to: Salford away, Huddersfield away, Warrington at home. Who can forget Warrington at home? Bucket hats galore.
Oh yeah.
That's when they won the league, Warrington.
Yeah.
And they lost to Leeds at Leeds. So Catalan's home form is always pretty consistent. I think they only lost one game at home. Oh, they lost two. Sorry, lost to Warrington and lost to us.
Lost to us, yeah. But we only lost 2 at home.
No, I apologise. Huddersfield won there as well. Remember they slipped up. Naguama scored from a kick-off.
Yeah.
And it can derail the season, so they've got to improve.
We'll see what they do. We've got Saints this week.
It's going to be a fiery one, that.
Talk about that in the next
segment.
Bit of this pod, yeah.
Right. Take a break and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. Right, so we had a bit of a plan.
It's out the window.
It's out the window because Bevan French, 4 more years, just been broken. Rads, you kept that one quiet. Thanks, mate. Thought you would give us some insider knowledge there, but we didn't know that. Brilliant.
Absolute dreamland. It's the perfect tonic after losing a game. They should have announced it at 5 o'clock on Friday.
We were asked what's the plan after French. We now know what the plan after French is, to have 4 more years of him. Questions? Suppose, where do we see the development of Jack Farrand? Obviously, that now means Field, French and Smith are all signed up to long-term deals.
Yeah, but I think that more means we'll get money for one of them if they leave.
Yeah.
And the one I can see leaving is Smith. So
I'm not worried about it. We've got 4 more years of them.
And it's belting to have them tied down, but this year
it gives the potential.
We've got them all for this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
And don't be expecting many big signings for next year. I think
we might be close to the cap.
We might be close to the cap.
Yeah, and we don't need it. We got this squad needs to develop, and keeping all these players letting it go. This is it's consistency. Isn't it? You don't need to keep signing everything. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
You gotta just. If you've not listened to the Rads podcast, I don't want to ruin it, but he mentions about if you want to sign these players, you've got to let people off your cap as well. So you can't just make a signing in its singularity. At some point, people like Zach Eckersley, Jr. and December are going to want bigger contracts as they become more prominent in that role. So they're going to have to let people go. And that's going to have to be something that Wigan have to deal with over the next 2 years and keep refreshing that squad, as we don't want to let the squad stagnate. You've got to keep it fresh and keep that level of hunger there.
I think the people who are most at risk of going are probably Latics players to keep funding the Wigan Warriors new contract renewals. So Sean McGuinness has gone, Teal Asgard's been sold. But we've got 4 more years of French.
Sean McGuinness, that's really not... Isn't that him who got sent off for St Helens once? Sean McGuinness.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know Latics. I just know
Josh McGuinness is Latics captain.
Josh McGuinness. Well, he's gone anyway. He's now playing for Port.
He's always offside. More than French was in that World Club Challenge.
Right.
He got a penalty the other day, right? Josh McGinn. We're off topic here. But he got a penalty and he was offside, so he didn't get given. And then he got another penalty and he missed. Just compare that to what Bevan French does on a weekly, even when we don't play well. There's the highest paid Latics player, your highest paid Warriors player. And they're probably getting paid about the same. So, there you go.
Right. Should we talk about a little bit about the NRL? A little bit of controversy on Thursday.
If I'm not finished talking about Ben French. If he stays for these 4 years, he'll have done 9 and a bit years. That's longer than Paddy Richards. Longer than I bet it's about the same as Tommy.
Well, we had this conversation when Field signed his 4 years.
He's good at.
He'd done 2 years. Done 3 years. The first season was his injury one. 2 brilliant years. 4. If he then stayed a little bit after that, obviously Field's a little bit younger than Bevan. Could potentially look at 8-9 years.
They're already the players we'll tell our kids about.
Yeah.
And our grandkids about. They're already that. It's remarkable, isn't it? That you're going to be probably best part of the career will be with Wigan. There's not many NRL players that come and do that, and that shows to me what Wigan is as a culture and as a club.
And why these players want to stay.
They do want to stay.
Obviously, there is always the talk that French wanted to go home and whatever.
Had to just been getting some more money on his contract for Wigan. That's what agents do. That's what players do.
Yeah, they're clever.
We can talk about the NRL, where Bevan French isn't going to be playing.
He's not going to the NRL anytime soon.
We can still talk about it. We can watch it now, knowing Bevan's not going.
Yeah, a little bit more relaxed. Well, the Sydney Roosters played Penrith, and the Roosters lost 16 points to 22, but it's caused a lot of a stir in the NRL world. At 12 points to 0, Penrith were winning, and Joey Manu scored.
Great try.
Great try.
He did well to score. I thought he'd been stopped by the defenders, but he just muscled over, didn't he?
But in the build-up,
they spotted an obstruction.
Jared Warrior-Hargreaves goes through the first line, no obstruction.
No.
Then he's watching the play unfold and jogs into the line of the full-back, who is at the sticks. Bear in mind, they scored pretty much in the corner. And that's brought back for an offside.
The fullback moves into him.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
He
Watch
doesn't-
this try if you... Well, no try, I should say, if you've not, because I think this was an egregious error and where they need to look at the rules, because I think the fullback makes a conscious decision to hit into the attacking player.
And he can see it happening.
He wouldn't have stopped him anyway because he scored it too far out wide.
But yeah, Penrith win 22-16.
They still deserve to win, even with that, I think. Even though it would have been even if they kicked the goal, but I still think Penrith were the better side.
Just to point out that they obviously did that without Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
Cleary. Schneider had a very good game.
Yeah, Schneider was on his debut. There was another lad on debut as well, wasn't there?
Yes, I can't remember his
I don't
name.
know his name.
I'll have a look for you.
There was another player on debut for Penrith. I remember them giving their shirts.
Oh, Maverick Gaia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Souths finally get a win, Lewis.
They do.
In Canterbury, not convincingly, 22 points to 16.
Yeah.
Just to remind you, the last time South lost 3 and won 1 out of the first 4 rounds, they won the comp. So, who knows?
What was that? That was 10 years ago.
That was
wasn't
10 years ago.
it? They haven't got really a Sam Burgess type though this time.
No. Yeah, his brother. Could he do the same?
Hmm.
Knowing he's leaving as well.
He's leaving.
Burgess was leaving at the end of 14.
Yeah, he's going to go and trust the process. That was the big difference. Burgess wasn't going to go and trust the process.
Now,
Took his ears into his
He's going to go, took his ears into his cap, wear claret and gold and trust the process.
Now, Brisbane beat North Queensland 38 points to 12, but I'm going to tell you probably my highlight of the week. Tommy Dearden's chase down on a...
Yeah, fantastic.
This was an amazing game. It looks more one-sided than it was.
They ran away with it
38-12.
in the last 15-20 minutes.
But this was an amazing game. Brisbane coming in a bit shaky. Not at the start that
No
you would
Walsh.
expect. No Walsh. He was on the sideline in the most ridiculous cowboy hat I've ever seen, with his face busted. But they were without him, obviously. They had a bit of a shaky start to the season. Not what you'd expect the finalists from last time to do. Cowboys undefeated, hot team, and you know, it was a really good game. But Brisbane were always in control of it. I know they run away with it, and I said that made it a bit flattering, which it did. But they were always in control of the game. The Brisbane, and I thought they were fantastic. Reynolds was fantastic. Ezra Mann was fantastic. Brisbane are a really good side.
Really good side.
Switching gears here to someone else who was fantastic. I've been on England watch in the NRL. Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah.
Having an amazing start with the Dolphins, his new side. Obviously moved from Brisbane to the Dolphins, and he's made a terrific start to his Dolphins career.
You know why this is good as well, Lewis? From an England standpoint, and as big fans of Jake Wardle,
He played right
he's playing right centre.
rather than left.
With a Hammer playing left, is he, or is he playing
No,
full-back?
he's playing full back still. Though the
They've got
thought
that
was
Avarillo.
Oh,
Was it the side
Avarillo,
from
yeah,
Canterbury?
Avarillo.
he's playing left
He's
centre.
left centre, yeah.
So
Good.
it gives you an option that, listen, Jake Wardle might not be the centre that England go with. They might go with a Newman or someone else or a Percival. But if Farnworth
Can play both.
can play both, and he's clearly the number one, he gives you also the option like Toby King did, where he's played both. Played right for Wigan, he's playing left currently for...
I'd like Dom Young on the right as well. Herbie and Dom Young on that side. Whoa.
Friday.
That's going to frighten any left edge defence from any country. I don't care whoever you are. You might be Valentine Holmes and Josh Addo-Carter. You'll still be frightened a bit of Herbie and Dom Young on that right edge.
Gotta say, big loss for the Titans, losing Tino.
Yeah.
Looks like he's done for the season, from what I've heard.
They're just not very good, and he's their best player.
Yeah.
So if they
Fafita's back. David Fafita.
He's
yeah,
going to get banned for a trip.
yeah,
Fafita, so he's going to be out for next game.
they're going to be without their two best
for a
players
purposeful trip.
I know it was a purposeful trip, but you're going to be without their two best players
To go to North Queensland.
to go to North Queensland. So you'd be back.
Why
in
would
the
you get rid of Holbrook for Des Hasler?
Stupid decision.
Very stupid
Getting
decision.
rid of Holbrook was a stupid decision. They said we have to be in the 8 by this date, otherwise he's sacked. But there's context.
They were out by.
They were out of the 8 by points difference.
Yeah.
And they had a few easy games coming up. They sack him, it sends them into turmoil. They finish whatever 11th
Way
or
out.
12th, way out it was. And now Desi's come in, and Desi's not coached for a while, has he?
No.
They brought Desi in, and it's just not started well. The best player is Tino. He's now missing, and he's the captain. Fafita, he's a good player, but he's obviously got
missing in games.
got a suspension now, and he can't do it by himself anyway. I saw somebody say if the Titans could line up with Fafita at left second row, and so Fafita at 12, and then 8, 10, 11 and 13 are all Tino, they might have a chance of winning a few games, because that might be a decent pack. But apart from them two, you know,
They're not a great squad.
they're not a great squad.
And I'd be amazed if they're up to cap. St George beat Manly. Big win for them. Big
Yeah.
Manly. Couldn't have played much worse. Probably Tommy Turbo's worst game he's had for an awful long time.
We get the line up there for St George.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lomax was on the wing.
He's off, innit? They've released him from the end of the year.
Which the weird thing is, he's playing alright on the wing. He's playing quite well on the wing.
Yeah, I don't know if he fancies himself a centre.
I think he fancies himself as a
Doesn't
centre.
seem to be, but he's putting some good
$800,000 contract he's on at the moment.
Well, he's going. Is he going to the Eels?
He's not signed.
The rumour is that he's going to the
I've heard
Eels.
a rumour of the Storm. I've also heard the Roosters as well.
Oh, really? So we don't know where he's going, but he'll play wherever he goes because he's obviously expensive. But I liked him on the wing, and you know they interviewed him. Fletch and Hindy interviewed him, which is obviously a bit tongue in cheek. Whenever you see them interview anybody, but they were asking him, "Do you see yourself as a winger?" And he gave like a political answer. He said, "Oh, I'll do whatever the team needs me to do, and it's a bit different. I'm carrying more on my own line, and it's stuff like that." Which I get. You know, he's going to make that comment, but if he leaves because he sees himself as a centre, I don't like that. If he leaves because St George have said, we want to move on.
We need a bit more money on the cap and you're taking a lot of it up.
Yeah, maybe, and we think it's best for you.
Might just be mutually beneficial.
He might think it's best for him to get a fresh start somewhere else as well. I completely get that.
They're a team near the bottom, near the one.
Yeah, they need to shed some money. I think yeah.
Move on quickly. New Zealand, the Warriors beating the Knights 22 points to 12.
Yeah, I heard that Pierce Paul played well in this game. I didn't watch this, but I heard Pierce Paul had a decent game. He's settling into life as a Knight.
Yeah.
Hastings is back next week, is he?
I think so.
They said he's back.
But that's a. He's lining up alongside Tyson Frizzell in the second row. It's a decent second row partnership. That.
KPP.
Cronulla beat the Canberra Raiders 36 points to 22.
Yeah, that was a comeback.
They
it
were
was 22.
18-0 up.
Oh, was it 18-0?
18-0 up, and it was 18-18 at half time. For me, I just felt the Raiders are a really, really hard team. They work really, really hard.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've got that skill yet.
They can't unlock you with a bit of dynamite. I think that
Yeah.
was like Jack Whiten, obviously.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
got-
there anymore. But they are the hardest working team. One of the hardest working teams in the league. And that will keep you in games. You know what I mean?
Now, over to Easter Monday. I like this, playing a game on Easter Monday. Dragging it out over the weekend, especially for Easter weekend. We could have had one on Easter Monday.
We could have had one, yeah. I was wondering why we didn't have one.
But anyway, 17 points to 16. The Tigers beat the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah.
Aiden Caesar with a drop goal. I want to comment Api Coruscant, the player before, realised he'd got a slow play of the ball. And he just went from 9, landed on his front and got a really quick play of the ball. That just set Caesar up, and he's that game awareness and that experience of a top hooker.
Yeah. It weren't a great drop goal though, was it?
No, it wasn't a great drop goal, but to be fair, they're all good drop goals that go
No
over.
pictures on the scoreboard. they all go over.
Then
It's
what
a
go
point
over?
either way.
Then what go over give you a point, so
That's
yeah, I
it.
suppose.
But I know what you mean. It was an awful connection. It did not strike it cleanly at all, but it went over.
If you hit that one in golf, you wouldn't be
Happy.
happy.
You're
To be
not
fair,
in
it's
golf.
better than mine,
It's a
usually.
mother-in-law shot. You're up there, but you shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's terrible.
That's a bad joke.
It's a shocker.
It's a bad joke when you say that on the golf course. It's worse when you say it in a living room somewhere about someone's drop goal.
But again, Parramatta did have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Short drop out, they get a penalty.
Penalty on the shot. James Graham was going crazy on the commentary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He kept getting over his name wrong because he was going too fast.
Yeah. Not the main kicker. Gutherson pulled it wide.
Yeah.
I'd have fancied Moses, if I'm being honest.
I'd have fancied Moses to kick that. I mean, you fancy Moses full stop. But I'd have fancied Moses to kick it. Cleary, kick it.
Top kickers
Valentine, Holmes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
The best kickers in the league would kick that, but Gutherson's second choice for a reason.
Yeah. David Clemmer, what do you think on his jumping and distraction techniques?
Well,
Jumping up and down, waving.
the ref
and then-
allowed it, didn't they?
Then giving the big send off when it missed.
When he missed, yeah.
Big fist bump to the air.
Well, I think he was part of the reason he missed. You ever seen that movie Basketball?
No.
No. Well, they basically play basketball with baseball rules, and you can put off the other team when they're shooting for a basketball. So they shoot a free throw basketball or a 3-pointer or whatever, and you're allowed to put them off by doing one psych out, it's called. So like you can jump up, show your belly, pull your trousers down, come out dressed as a woman, whatever. You can do whatever you want to put off the other team when they're kicking. And I wonder if there's an element for this. You could track
You
it on
just,
the.
just select one player.
You could track it on the stats. David Clemmer has had 50% successful psych out misconversion rate.
Wow.
With all these different techniques of how you can put people off.
Right, should we have a look at some predictions?
Let's do it.
Sure, yeah.
Let's start off. First game, Thursday. Wigan travel to Lee. I'm assuming we're all going to go Wigan.
Wigan.
Where do we see this game being won and lost?
I think Wigan win it down the middle.
I agree.
Yeah. Obviously missing Byrne and Dupree. It's going to give chances for Harvey Hill, maybe a Tiaki Chan, a Junior December. Players that might not have had the minutes that they've wanted so far.
Yeah,
It's going to give them a big chance to get some game involvement, and they're going to have to show that they can win the battle down the middle.
I'm looking forward to it. We're getting a chance right away with the first team to play. We get a chance to put it right, but so do Lee. There's collection for Josh Charnley's testimonial.
Yes. Yeah.
So throw some money in that bucket. Currently, we've got 90% voting for Wigan on the fans.
I think that's probably fair.
We do have quite a few Lee fans that follow us and vote on these every week, but we've got 90% voted for Wigan so far on 128 votes, but it obviously it's still got a long time before it gets closed, that poll.
Yeah. Right. Friday, Hull KR vs London.
Okay.
Thanks for being so brave on that shout, Lewis. Yeah.
I'm going to back Hull KR.
Should we make this a little bit interesting? By how many?
40.
30.
I'm going to go 40 as well. I've seen a very strong side they've named.
Yeah.
Hull
Yeah.
KR.
How many do you think have gone for Hull KR so far with the percentages?
100%.
It's not 100.
Is it not 100?
It's not
Well, I
100.
voted London just to make it a bit interesting, I'm going to be honest.
It's 98
98.
for Hull KR, and 98% have said Hull KR so far. I think that's probably about right.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Probably game of the week. One of the two games of the week. Leeds vs Warrington.
Yeah.
I'll be watching this with a close eye.
Yeah.
Who do you fancy? I'll put my head on the chopping block. I fancy Warrington.
This is at Headingley, this one.
It's a big.
Yeah.
It's big. I think this is a bigger game for Sam Burgess than it is Rowan Smith.
What do you think?
Just because of the teams that Warrington have lost to. They've lost two already this year. Both have been to Catalan. They've beat teams that you would expect them to beat. Hull FC cast London twice in the Cup as well. They've beat Hull KR in a close one. I think they've got to try and beat Leeds and be a little bit more defensively sound, would be my thoughts on the
I'm
game.
going to go Warrington as well. I think you're right there, Jukes. Yeah, I think Warrington, they need to win this to prove to themselves and everybody else that they can. You know, they are real top 6 contenders.
I'm more
I know
concerned
they
about
did beat Hull
Warrington,
KR, but
the
I think
defensive side of it. They need to beat Leeds.
they can beat
to a
Hull
10 or
KR
12.
Hull KR away on a Thursday night and then beat Leeds away at Headingley. That is kind of saying, look, all right, we've had 2 losses to Catalans or whatever, but look at us, we are real, genuine top 6 contenders.
I
if
think-
not pushing on the top 4.
I think this is the closest one, and I think I'm just about going to edge to Warrington. really close. The fans have gone 52% to Warrington.
Really?
It's really close. And
Which you would expect.
That's been going around there all day, 51, 52, 53%. I think it's really close. I was going to go Headingley Leeds.
I'm just going to say, looking at the bookies, Leeds have got +2 on the handicap.
It's so close.
So Warrington's
that's
tiny favourites.
Yeah, really tiny favourites. I just think Leeds they've not impressed very much. It's cool. That could go either way. That one. I'm really not confident with that one.
Right, Salford travel. So we're all going to Warrington.
Yeah, we'll go for Warrington.
Right, Salford travel to Castleford.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Salford. I don't rate Cass.
Salford, I think we're all going
Salford are going to win this one. They were impressive last week. What do you think the percentage is for Salford? Do you think it's more or less than Hull KR?
What was Hull KR?
98% was Hull KR.
I think
I'll think less.
Yeah.
You think a bit less? It's
Cass are at home, aren't they?
It's 96
96.
to Salford.
Really?
Yeah.
So people...
4% think Cass are going to win at home.
Yeah. Interesting.
So far.
Interesting. Right. 2 more games to think about. Hull FC versus Huddersfield.
The match of the coach's dessert.
The coach's dessert match, yep.
Oh, wow. I've got to go Huddersfield.
Yeah, I
We
think
can't back
Huddersfield.
Hull FC anymore. Me and Lewis backed him last time. We're not backing him again.
No.
Go on then, guess this
I've backed
time.
Huddersfield many times, don't
Yeah,
I?
we are
Let
backing
me down,
Huddersfield.
but I am going to back Huddersfield.
Do you think more or less than 94%?
Less.
I think less. I reckon someone 88 would say Huddersfield.
What do you think, Juice?
80.
80%? You think 20%, 1 in 5, are going to back Hull FC? No. It's 92.
No,
Really?
People are off the Hull FC. People have stopped backing
I
Hull FC.
think at some point...
You've got the
Think-
Lewis
think-
Tolan effect.
No,
backing.
no.
You're doing with Hull FC, or I do with Huddersfield
No,
last year. Yeah, you've got the Lewis Tolan effect. They've got to turn it around at some point. They
But
must come and go.
when I say that, I'm taking into consideration that Huddersfield aren't the most expansive team. And
You got to trust the process, though, Dukes.
if Hull get it right, they have got a pack that could be dominant.
Yeah.
But I'm still going Huddersfield. I
Yeah.
still think Huddersfield will win. Big game. Really weird kick-off time. This 8:05 on Saturday.
8:05?
On Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
Catalans.
Well, we might
say-
see it actually after the wheelchair final.
Yes.
That's good.
Maybe that's why, so Catalans can watch the wheelchair final.
Maybe.
It can be shown in France. Catalans Saints. I think Good Friday took more out of Saints than Catalans game did against Warrington. And for that reason, I'm just going to edge Catalan.
I'm going to do the same, Catalans. It's in the south of France, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a tough away trip.
71% agree with you two.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to differ. I think I'm going to go for Saints.
Catalans are -2 on the handicap.
Yeah. This is my only underdog then. My underdog of the week. That seems weird being St Helens being the underdog. But yeah.
I just think the bands, Matty Lee's picking up a ban.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think it's the game after
anyone
the
else
game
pick up a ban
after.
for them?
I think it might be the game after the game after. Because
Yeah.
I think they might get around this one and just go, right, let's just do it one more time. Let's beat these. I think they'll be up for it.
That's understandable.
But I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that.
I'm mainly picking that to pick something different. In terms of the
Standings.
because you've got to play Warrington after something in the cup. But in terms of the standings for predictions wise, we've got a new leader.
Oh.
It's the listeners. They're because they went right last week with 5 out of 6, and we got 3, all of us.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
So Jukesy are on 22, bottom still. Lewis has 24. I've got 25, and the listeners have streaked ahead with 27. They've been catching up
Wow.
for a while, and they've gone ahead now. But the listeners always, you just end up with them back in the favourites because it's overall, you know, we choose different teams to make it interesting sometimes,
Yeah. That's we think we know something.
which we didn't do last week and then got them wrong anyway.
Yeah. Right. I think that wraps up this episode.
Yep, been a good one.
Been a good one.
Been
different.
well, yeah, but we lost, but Bevan French signed a 4-year deal, so you can't take it away from us.
Yeah, exactly. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks
Yep.
for listening.
Nice one.
Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
and I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.